Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Tiny Epic Mechs. Tiny Epic Mechs is brought to you by Gamelin Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and game time ranges anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. Alright, let's jump in and witness the spectacle known as mechs. In the year 3030, what used to be a VR experience is now a real-world spectator sport. Heroes don giant mech battle suits in an arena with head-to-head combat to see who can be the ultimate champion. Known as MECHs, Mechanized Entertainment Combat Heroes. This is what a typical setup for a 4-player is going to look like, and based on the player count, this board configuration will change. Each player is going to receive a player card, and this card is double-sided. You have stats on both sides, and there's your health track is primarily on this particular card. Now, you also get a resource card, and this represents your resources and a few other things. You get cubes to track those things. So on your resource card, you'll be tracking credits, and you'll be tracking energy. On your player card, you're going to be tracking health. There are several characters to choose from, and they all have their own player powers, and they're wide and varied, so it gives you a different experience as you use each one of them. Like Magma has a power shield, and for the first damage you take during combat, you may lose energy instead of health. So it really mixes up the gameplay depending on what type of character you choose. You're going to also receive a set of program cards. These program cards are going to dictate your movement in the arena. Also, there's some tokens that represent mines, different levels of mines, and turrets. Now, you're going to also receive a player base, and that player base is part of the overall board setup. This is where you'll be placing your meeple to start the game, as well as one of your mines. Your mines all have a value on their backside, and these values dictate how much damage they're going to do. And you'll place one in your starting home location, keeping it secret from the other players. Then place the score tracker and the round tracker near the board for all to see and use, and of course, the mighty M.E.C.H.s suit. This card will be placed near the board as well, and depending on who can grab this M.E.C.H.s suit in the middle of the arena, will get the chance to wear it and battle with it. However, this card and this suit can change hands throughout the game. And finally, there are cards for basic weapons and advanced weapons. Each player gets to choose a basic weapon to start the game. You're given 4 different types. You have the riot shield, the grenade launcher, the pulse pistol, and the energy sword. Now, each player will get the same set of cards, and everyone will pick one, and then reveal simultaneously which weapon you have chosen, which then will be held in hand by these awesome item meeples. After everyone has chosen their weapons and outfitted their meeples, then you will take the remaining basic weapons and create separate piles face up based on the weapon type. The advanced weapon deck is then shuffled and 4 cards are turned face up, ready for purchase. And it's also worth mentioning that each player will receive an ad hoc card in their particular color. These cards are going to be used specifically for retreating and if you are KO'd. Now, before we go any further, let's take a closer look at these item meeples because they've taken the item meeple to the next level. You have basic mech suits and the most advanced mech suit in the middle of the board. These mech suits you actually pull apart and put your meeple inside, and they still have spots for holding your weapons and different accessories. So on your basic mech suit, you can hold 2 basic weapons and 2 advanced weapons. However, with the giant mech suit in the middle of the board, it holds 4 advanced weapons, and these things are amazing. Your player card also has slots showing what type of weapons you are currently carrying, basic and advanced. Okay, so the arena combat battle takes place over 6 rounds, and at the end of rounds 2, 4, and 6, you'll be collecting victory points. And along the way, you're going to be collecting resources, you're going to be managing turrets and putting out mines, you're going to be getting new types of weapons and powering up your mech suits. Now, victory points are all calculated based on you controlling zones, with turrets, mines, you occupying a zone, and controlling the mighty mech. Now, there are three main phases to a turn. You're going to have program, execution, and scoring. Again, scoring only happens on rounds 2, 4, and 6. But for programming, what you're going to do is look at your 8 program cards and you're going to choose 4 of them secretly. You're going to place them face down in front of you in the order they will be played. Now we get to execute these commands that we've laid out. And what you're going to do is do these one at a time in turn order. You'll flip over the card, you'll do the movement through the zones, and you must move, and you'll resolve the action that's on the card. Things like deploy a turret. There's also a double jump and a diagonal movement, so there's a lot of variation in these programmable cards. So what happens when you move into a zone with an enemy? Well, of course, combat ensues. This is where you're going to be using your weapon cards. And you have a primary attack on these cards. So in the case of Lightning Coil, you're going to do 1 damage, and you're going to be able to pay up to 3 energy to do 3 additional damage. So that would be a total of 4. Now, you being the attacker moving into that space, you get a victory point just for that. But you also get victory points for every point of damage that you do. And every time you use a weapon, then you have to turn it 90 degrees to show that it's exhausted. And also, this means that all your weapons could become exhausted in any one battle, which may force you to retreat. And if you have to retreat out of the space, your opponent's going to get a victory point for that as well. Now, at the bottom of your weapon card is your power attack or your counter attack. This is very important because based on the grid or the triangle on your resource card, it shows how each attack relates to another. So you've got melee, ranged, and area, and based on what you're being hit with may allow you to use one of these counters or power attacks. A couple other actions worth mentioning are power up and purchase. Power up is where you'll take your mini mech or your power armor and put it on your meeple, and you're going to flip over your player card, which then brings your health back up to 9, regardless of what it was when you were just a mere meeple or a pilot. Your health maxes out. Now, how do you do that? You have to have the action available, and you have to pay 5 credits. Now, for the purchase action, you're going to go shopping for more, bigger, powerful weapons. And what you're going to do is pay either the credits or the energy cost on these cards in order to purchase them. And if you're choosing from the advanced pile, then you'll grab it and replace it right away. And if you're going to buy one of the basic weapons, you can only buy one that you don't already own. You can't have duplicates of the same type for basic weapons. These weapons will go into your stockpile, and you really can have as many as you want in your stockpile, but you can only equip them at the beginning or at the end of your turn. And of course, you cannot equip weapons while you're already engaged in combat. Another note on combat, as you move into a zone with turrets or mines, mines have a value. You flip them over and find out how much damage they do. And turrets will be dependent on what zone they're in. The zone number will determine how powerful that turret is. So if you do retreat or you're KO'd, then you have to go into this ad hoc mode. You'll take the ad hoc card and put it in front of you, and you'll collect all your program cards and put them to the side. So while in this ad hoc mode, you can perform any of your actions, and you can even repeat them throughout the round. However, if you're KO'd, then you are reduced back down to a mere pilot or a mere meeple, and you are returned back to your base. However, you do restored back to full health. All right, now let's take a look at the Mighty Mech, or the Troy 3000. So what you're going to try to do is be the first one to this middle space, and you need to already be in your power armor for this to work, as well as full health. If you are both of those things and you move into this space with the mech, then you can freely jump into it. And what happens is you get 2 victory points right out of the gate, which is really slick. And you can rearrange your items, which you have to, because the Mighty Mech can only be powered up with advanced weapons, so you can't be carrying any basic weapons while you're inside this mech, which makes a lot of sense. You want to bring the most power as possible, right? So you're going to be moving across the board, just weighing laced everyone, and the only way to be kicked out of this suit is if someone KOs you. If they do, then you have to retreat basically, but you still stay in your power suit. You'll retreat and move into that ad hoc mode. So, how do you gather resources? Well, it's all about control. You have to control a zone, and the way you control zones is by using your turrets, your mines, or just your pilot, you. And what you're going to gain is based on what zone it is. So if you're in a zone that does credits, then you get 1 credit. If you're in a zone with energy, you get 1 energy. Now there's special zones like your base that gives you 1 of each, or the mighty mech in the middle. This will give you 1 of each type as well. Now, this game is all about who has the most victory points. And there are various ways to gain victory points. You know, we looked at some of the ways when you do combat, but again, it's all about control. If you control zones, you get victory points that are listed on those zones. Now, there's some variance here too, because if you use a mine to control a zone, then you get the number value of that zone in victory points. Now, if you control it with a turret, you get double the number of victory points. And if you control a zone with a pilot, then you also just get the base value of the zone, even if there's a turret already there. And then finally, if you control the Mighty Mech zone, you get 3 victory points. And whoever has the most victory wins the combat. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now with that said, you know, these item meeples are phenomenal. They've done a really good job. And the fact that you wrap these power suits and mech suits around the meeple is just super cool. I like programming in games, so this is right up my alley. I really like the mayhem, the back and forth, the battle royale. So ultimately though, if this looks like a game that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they would appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.